If I told you that Thermite, the primary hard breacher since year 1 season 1, day 1 Rainbow Six Siege, is slowly but surely falling out of the meta, you'd probably call me crazy. But what if I said there's an operator that does Thermite's job just as efficiently, but can't be bandit tricked or impact tricked, that has an equally good, if not maybe even slightly better weapon, and also has frag grenades and flashbangs? Hello internet, my name is Nebulous, and today we're talking about Maverick.
You won't hear a thing.
So let's talk about Thermite for a second here. He's still just as good as he has always been. His gun is great, his exothermic charges are still invaluable for opening up reinforced walls and hatches, so I must be lying about him not being in the meta anymore, right? Or not being useful. To put it simply, the data doesn't lie. Now, I know everyone loves this part of the video, the data and looking at graph section, so I promise we'll get it over quickly. Please don't click off the video. So there's one primary factor causing Thermite to fall out of meta. That being Thatcher's relevance and thus his ban rate shooting through the roof. Between the 6 Invite 2019 and Invite 2020, we can see that Thatcher's relevance increases from 46% all the way to 76%, with his ban rate skyrocketing from 8 to 41%. But what exactly does this show? Well, first and foremost, there's a reason Thatcher and Thermite were always the power couple of Siege. Getting a reinforced wall open, especially if it's a site wall, take CCTV wall on Clubhouse for example, it means you need to actually take map control inside the building to apply the vertical pressure in order to clear the wall denial, whether that's batteries, electroclaws, jammers, or whatever. But with Maverick, you don't need Thatcher at all. You can just blowtorch straight through the reinforced panels, no problem. And these claims are backed up again by the fact that Maverick's overall relevance has gone from a 35 to a 40% over the last year. Now, obviously that's not much of an increase, but when you see that his pick rate's improved 7%, while Thermite's overall pick rate has gone downhill, while his relevance has stayed the same, so he's still about as relevant as he's always been, about 64%, but we can see his pick rate's gone down by about 14%. So we can see that Thermite dropping out of the meta isn't due to the fact that Maverick is a better operator, has better guns, or can do things that Thermite can't necessarily. It's more so due to the fact that Thermite is most useful when paired with Thatcher, so the more Thatcher isn't played, the less Thermite sees any action. So we've established that Thermite is still a fantastic operator, and when you can bring a Thatcher, there's really no reason not to play a Thermite. But we've all played Ranked or watched Pro League. Thatcher is banned in 9 out of 10 matches. No matter what the map is, Thatcher is one of the most common bans. And that's just the meta that's playing out at the moment. It's one that's incredibly centered around the defenders bringing as much utility as they can. From deployable shields and maestro cams to hard breach and information denial like Mutant Mozzie, Bandit Cade, etc. This is why we see Thatcher be so much more relevant in the past few months. It's because as the defenders have relied on all this utility, the more someone that can destroy them easily like Thatcher goes up. Right, so we've talked about why Maverick is a super viable pick, and when you want to be bringing him, if a Thatcher is banned. Now you're probably wondering, alright Neb, fair enough, if Maverick is so good, how do we use him to do the same stuff as a Thermite charge, and not just make little peek holes and reinforced walls to get free kills? Well, don't worry, we're going to go over that as well. So we'll start with the easiest one, opening a reinforced wall with Maverick. The basic goal you're aiming for is to essentially cut off the top and bottom of the reinforced panel. Doing this successfully cuts off the metal panel and leaves you with a soft wall that you can destroy with some soft destruction like a buck or a Zofia or a sledge, whoever. Now, while this is pretty simple to do, it may be worth jumping into a custom game if you've never done it before and just trying this out with a friend a few times, just to get the hang of it before you jumped into Ranked. But the key points to remember are always to make sure you open the metal panel all the way across, one side to the other, making sure you cut from where the reinforced panel meets the outside wall, and in the middle where the panel meets the panel next to it. Moving on to the slightly trickier skill, which is opening hatches with Maverick. Now, in and of itself, it isn't particularly hard to open a hatch with Maverick. You just Maverick all 4 sides of the hatch, following the same methods as the reinforced wall. Easy enough. The difficulty comes when you need to open the hatch perfectly so you can open 2 full hatches. Now, there's different ways people will choose to open them, depending on how good your control of the blowtorch is. But my best advice for beginners, and this is a trick that really helped me when I was new to Maverick, is to, when you can, go prone next to the hatch, line up your torch with the corner of the hatch, and while holding left click to activate it, just prone to the side until you've opened the length of the side of the hatch. Doing this for all 4 sides should generally give you a pretty good timing and torch usage, good enough to open up 2 hatches. Now obviously yes, this takes more time than just moving your mouse around the 4 sides freely, but you can easily mess this up and use too much fuel. So again, go prone and just Maverick each side by just holding down left click and proning to the side until you've done each side. Alright, so that's the 2 ways you'll be using his gadget primarily. Finally, I'm just going to brush over his loadout, the kind of things you should be bringing. So as of last patch, Maverick now has frag grenades, and there's really no point to not take these over as flashbangs. You'll still probably be burning the ADSs or magnets anyway, because you're playing a hard-reaching operator. That's just kind of what you're supposed to be doing. But if you have the chance to now destroy some utility, well then even better. So always bring the frags over the flashbangs, there's no reason not to. For your primary weapon, I'd recommend the M4 over the AR-15, because the M4 is just better, really. Not that the AR-15 is a bad gun, it's just when you can bring an automatic gun over a semi-auto, it's just kind of an easy one. And what you actually run on for attachments is personal preference as always, but personally I can't stand the ACOG on the M4 as I find the horizontal recoil to be super bouncy with an ACOG, so I run a hollow sight, a vertical grip, and a flash hider. Anyway, that about wraps up today's video. I hope you've learned a thing or two. If you have, make sure you hit that like rating down below and subscribe if you haven't already. As always, if you fancy, feel free to follow on all the social medias. Join the Discord full of awesome people like yourselves. It's growing quite quickly at the moment, so make sure to get in there and chat with everyone. Links obviously for all of these things in the description down below. And as always, have a great day.
Cover me, reloading. Swapping mags.
Op 4, last operator standing.
Spotted a bomb.
Sophia, we need you.
Where?
We need to destroy the shield.
Electrical.
Here, I'm coming up. I'm coming upstairs.
Reload!
Where's the
Detected
shield?
a
Can
bomb.
you ping? Yo, we're coming.
Drone activated.
Located a bomb.